Hey, Mr. Tom White,
Yes,
we got, Hernandez, Francisco. He doesn't need Spanish interpreter, but if you need to interview him, you can call courtroom too.
okay. He does not need a Spanish interpreter?
No, but the other Juan Hernandez, he need interpreter.
Perfect, I'll call.
Go to that phone over there.
Good morning, Mr. Jordan.
Morning, Ms. Grace.
Do I need to reach out for an interpreter?
I didn't get any requests for today, I don't think, but I don't have an announcement, so.
Okay, so I try.
Ms. McLeod, I'm gonna call you from Mr. Patterson, position number 17.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's begin with our state all-purpose calendar for today, April 3rd, 2025. These are misdemeanor cases in which individuals who were recently arrested and charged with misdemeanor offenses. Their cases have been formally accused, bonds have been set, and today we are going to find out the status of their cases and how they would like to proceed. This is essentially a plea and arraignment calendar where we may also address other matters such as bond modifications, bench warrants, as well as a competency calendar. If you're a defendant charged with a misdemeanor offense or offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, like this virtual proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Number 8, Hernandez.
Thank you, Debbie. Ms. Kim, I'm just still in the middle of printing up your announcements. Position number 8 is represented by who? Mr. White?
That's me, Judge. It's a negotiation plea.
All right, sir. This is Francisco Hernandez, accused of battery from March 19th of this year, case number 25 CR 1490E. Mr. Hernandez, you've been advised, thank you. You've been advised of your rights and your attorney is Mr. White. For purposes of the plea, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. All right, this is another one? Okay. Ms. Falk, good morning, and what's the
Good morning, Your Honor.
recommendation?
The state's recommendation on this case is going to be 12 months served 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. That will be from March 19th, 2025 until today. Balance probated, 12 weeks of anger management, 40 hours of community service. Stay away from the Copeland Village Shopping Center that's located at 215 Northwood Drive, and no further contact with Rafael Carmona. At this time, we would like to sound for Rafael Carmona, and we do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of this plea.
All right, I don't see a Rafael Carmona on Zoom. If you're here, please unmute and start your video. Mr. White, does your client accept the terms and do you so stipulate?
We do stipulate, Your Honor, and just ask that probation terminate upon completion of all of his requirements.
Ms. Falk, any objection to termination?
We agree to non-reporting.
Non-reporting, is that acceptable, Mr. White?
Sure, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Hernandez, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes, ma'am.
Has your attorney explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty, you would have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury? You will not go back to court, confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, and the prosecutor won't have to prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of battery?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. If you have no other cases holding you at the jail, you'll be released this Monday, but you must report to probation before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While on probation, you will complete 12 anger management classes. You must enroll in those classes within 60 days of being released and not miss or skip any of those 12 classes. You're also to complete 40 hours of community service with any nonprofit agency, and you can do that with any agency that's not a church and not a school, as long as it's a nonprofit one as well. And you will begin your community service at a minimum rate of 5 hours per month, beginning in the first month. At all times, you're to stay away from the Copeland Village Shopping Center, the entire shopping center, including the parking lot and the sidewalks at 215 Northwood Drive, and you're to have no contact with Rafael Carmona. Once you have completed your anger management and your community service and you're up to date with your probation fees, your probation will be non-reporting. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Number 17, Patterson.
Ms. McLeod, is that your client?
Yes, Your Honor, good morning.
Good morning. And how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, I will be asking for a modification of my client's bond this morning.
All right. This is Unique Patterson, accused with interference with custody from March 14th, 2025. And Ms. Falk, Mr. Patterson has been advised of his rights. What's the state's announcement?
Your Honor, this case was accepted by the DA's office. I am still waiting on the transfer order to be signed. I can send Your Honor the email where they did accept the case. I just need them to sign the order and send it to us so we can have the court sign off on it.
Okay, so this case is going to Superior Court as a felony charge.
Yes,
All right,
that is
Ms.
correct.
Ms. McLeod, I've already set a bond in this case. What's the ground for modification?
He simply can't afford that bond, Your Honor. It's a $5,000 cash bond. I have spoken with his family. I spoke to his grandmother this morning, and I've been speaking with her going on. They're just not in a position to afford that kind of bond, Your Honor. So I was asking the court to consider modifying his bond to a surety bond.
Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, the basis for the cash bond that Your Honor ordered was, well, one, because I believe that Your Honor felt that this charge may have been a felony, which we have identified the felony, which is felony pandering. And two, the defendant has a history that involves inappropriate acts with minors. The defendant was actually previously convicted of cruelty to children in the second degree in Fulton County, and was sentenced under that case. That case is.
I've already gone through all this information, Ms. Falk. Do you know
Yes,
of
sure.
anything new that's come up other than it's been accepted as a felony charge, which what we've been discussing for the last couple of weeks?
Correct, Your Honor. No, there's no new information. I would argue that simply the inability to pay the bond is not one of the Ayala factors. And this defendant is clearly a danger to children and to the community, and he is a risk of reoffense based on the fact that he is currently on first offender probation when he committed this new act.
Hey, excuse me, can I talk?
No,
Mr.
I don't think it's a good idea, Mr. Patterson, but you may give me a call to discuss anything that you want to say to the court that you think we should be saying.
Mr. Patterson, I'm going to unmute courtroom 2 in a moment, but keep this in mind. And I'm very, very serious about this. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say right now will not only be used for this matter or for your bond modification request, but can also be used in the prosecution of a felony charge against you. All right? I've reviewed the pleadings based on just the initial factors, based on your criminal history record and the allegations set forth in the warrant. I am still looking for new grounds to modify your bond. And Ms. McLeod, I agree with the state. The mere fact he cannot afford the bond is in and of itself insufficient to modify the bond. All right? Now, I'm going to unmute courtroom 2. And first thing you're going to tell me, Mr. Patterson, is whether you want to waive your right to remain silent or whether you want to remain silent. Mr. Patterson?
I want to waive.
All right. Ms. McLeod, he wants to waive his right to remain silent. Do you have anything else to tell him?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Patterson, it's your funeral.
Okay, I know what my record may look like, but I'm innocent. This female that's on this case is my baby mother. The only reason why I was with her because she said that this is my baby. I'm just now finding out that this is my baby. My baby mother been doing this line of work. She been doing what y'all trying to accuse me of. I was not pimping her. I didn't get no money from her at all.
Mr. Patterson?
I'm in the jail cell innocent, bro.
So, Mr. Patterson, let's go over some of the legal factors. Number one, when you're charged with a crime, you are legally presumed innocent of the charge. The only reason why the bond has been set at the present time, because it's a reflection of whether you are likely to reoffend, whether you're likely to not show up in court, and whether you pose a threat.
I'm not a criminal. I'm innocent. I'm not a criminal. And I was not on probation when I caught the charge.
Understood.
All my probation. I finished my probation. I did good. I did one mistake when I was young. Okay, but I'm not a repeated offender, and I'm not a guy. Safe offender. It's my life. Yeah.
Bond modification is denied. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, next case, please. And I'll sign the transfer order as soon as it gets to us.
And I resent it to the DA's office and asked them to sign it this morning, so you could sign it, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Number 6.
Good morning, Judge. This is gonna be position number 5, Ms.
Morning.
Glass.
Thank you. This is Gabriana, middle initial L, last name Glass, charged with 2 counts of battery family violence from March 20th, 2025, case 25 CR 1493C. Ms. Glass has also got an additional case, 24 CR 20C, which includes 1 count of battery. Ms. Glass, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Ms.
Yes, Your
McLeod,
Honor.
how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we would like to ask the court to consider modifying my client's bond.
All right.
I have been speaking with my client, and she tells me that she's having a real difficult time in jail. She says that she's not getting the medications that she requires, and she feels very, very unsafe. My client currently has a $5,000 good bond, Your Honor. She's just not in a position to make that bond. And I do not think that her criminal history or what she is accused of merits a $5,000 bond. The court will probably recall that the alleged victim in this case, who is her grandmother, had been arrested, I believe, just a week before, and my client was the alleged victim in that case when the grandmother was arrested. My client is okay with not having any further contact or to stay away. She just wants to have a reasonable bond so she can get out of jail, because she tells me that she is having a really bad time in there, and she just has some other issues which are just aggravated by her being in jail, Your Honor. So we don't believe that this is so serious a charge that she cannot have a bond that is affordable. So I am asking the court to modify her bond. If she cannot get a signature bond, at least a bond that is considerably lower than the current bond, which is set at a $5,000 good bond. She tells me that she has 2 children out there, a daughter, she says, needs her 11-year-old. She also has an 8-year-old, and she's particularly concerned about the 11-year-old who's about to transition into another school environment. So she wants to be out there for her. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Who's representing her in the underlying case? I have a request from Ms. Zakia Watson Cafe. All right. Were you going to represent her in the other case as well, Ms. McLeod?
Would be representing her in that case, Your Honor, because it just makes sense to me to represent her in both. Yes, I just found out about the other case today, though.
All right. So, and the grandmother's name is Jody Edmondson?
I'll have to look. No, I think that's her mother-in-law.
That's her mother-in-law.
That's what she tells me, is her mother-in-law.
All right.
The victim in our case, Your Honor, the grandmother is Annie Tribble.
Yes.
Annie Tribble, sorry.
Her prior
You're correct.
victim was Jody Edmondson.
Yes, and
So-
Jody Edmonds is her mother-in-law. That's my understanding.
So the previous victim was her mother-in-law. So
That is
she's
correct.
married to someone?
Or was married to someone. Yes.
And now the
No.
current victim from March 20th, 2025 is her grandmother.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so she received a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial from the case involving Jody Edmondson.
Yes.
I don't know if that bond has been surrendered because of this new arrest. Maybe pretrial can advise me. And then now she's got a $5,000 bond from a new battery case, also involving a family member. And so she's got back-to-back family violence cases involving family members, and she's having a hard time in jail?
Yes, Your Honor, she is.
And how would I help alleviate this hardship?
Well, if you could do that by giving her a bond, she can afford, Your Honor, so she can see, she tells me she needs to see her doctor, not the doctor in the jail. She needs to speak with her own personal physician and to be under that person's care because she has peculiar issues that are not very well addressed in the jail environment that I would
Okay.
prefer not to speak to specifically on the Zoom, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. White is telling me someone called Edmondson's on Zoom.
It's Jody Edmondson's on Zoom. I believe that is
Jody
the alleged.
Edmondson, if you want to say something, this is the time to unmute and start your video. Oh, there you are.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Edmondson. Did you have something to add?
Yes, well, I'm actually not the mother-in-law. I am my grandbaby.
I'm sorry, I can't
The
make out what you're saying.
grandmother. My son was dating her, and they had. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't see you though. Can we see
I
her?
think her screen is frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Miss Edmondson, are you the person wearing glasses in a room with some kind of lamp behind you?
Yes,
Because
ma'am. That would be me. Can you
your
hear me?
screen is frozen. All right. What would you like to tell us? Because I need to get to my other cases. Oh, there she's gone? Okay. Miss Falk, any comment?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant's history does point to the reason why she was given a $5,000 surety bond. She had a 2015 simple battery case that was null prost, a 2017 family violence battery case that was null prost. She then had a 2017 failure to appear where she was convicted on that. She had a fray that she was sentenced to under, let's see, in a 22 CR case, I believe, that she was convicted of disorderly conduct. She then picked up a harassing phone calls case in Clayton County State Court in 2024, where she was given 12 months served 30 days. The 12 months was suspended. She then had, after her 2024 case with Jody Edmondson, a arrest in February of 2024 for aggravated assault, 2 counts, reckless conduct, cruelty to children in the first degree, and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, and was then arrested in August 2024 for terroristic threats and acts, harassing phone calls, and cruelty to children in the second degree in Clayton County, and arrested again in January 2025 for criminal trespass in Clayton County before being arrested on our case in March of 2020. So what we have here is a pattern of very disturbing behavior with consecutive felony arrests subsequent to her first case, which the 2024 case was indeed, the pretrial bond was surrendered on that case. And there is a $3,000 surety bond that she will now have to pay on that case. So I believe the combination of those factors is what led Judge Williams to issue a $5,000 surety bond in this case. And based upon the Ayala factors, her previous failure to appear, as well as her consecutive felony arrests in Clayton County, which are all still pending, we believe that this bond should not be modified.
All right. Miss Jody Edmondson, you're back on Zoom. If you want to unmute. All right, please raise your right hand.
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly
Can-
swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
How do you know Gabriana Glass?
I met her through my son, Eric Ransom, and they began
Okay,
dating.
so is your son
I am-
married to her?
I'm the grandmother.
Okay, is your
No,
son
my
married
son
to
has
her?
never been married to her.
Okay, but they have children?
No, he's deceased, but no, they've never been married. They have 2 children, yes.
Okay, so you're the
The
grandmother.
The children are in LA.
Okay, so
Yes, ma'am, I am.
you're also the victim on a case from November 2023. Would that be correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, what would you like to tell me?
So her children are not out. They're actually in California.
I'm not. Okay, what would you like to tell me about whether Ms. Glass' bond should be reduced and released from jail? Do you have anything to add to that?
I don't think that she should be released.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you, Ms. Edmondson. Please mute your
Okay.
screen. All right, Ms. McLeod, anything else to add?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. It looks like Ms. Glass wants to say something. Please, Ms. Glass, I'd like to remind you that anything you say can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. Please don't reference any private, confidential medical information. What would you like? Would you like to say something? Would you like to exercise your right to remain silent?
Your Honor, I would like to speak.
Ms. McLeod?
You know, of course, Ms. Glass, that anything you say can be used by the state against you in dealing with your case. I just want you to understand that before you say anything that might just make matters worse for you, okay? But you do have the right to speak if you want to, but I would advise you not to say anything.
I have no felony. The state, this is not true. I have no felonies. The case in Clayton County that has nothing to do with this, and I have no previous felonies, Your Honor. No, I have never been convicted of a felony. This is gang related. My children are being threatened. They continue to tell people where they are. Their safety is at risk, ma'am. Their safety is at risk. I have no problem not contacting Jody Edmondson or the grandmother, Annie Tribble, but ma'am, I have not. When I say that, have not contacted her. I'm not on any probation. I'm asking for a reduced bond or a signature bond. I reported every month on time. I reported every month to pretrial on time. I communicated with them, tried to get to domestic violence shelters. I am being, even in jail, threatened that they're going to kill me. I am afraid for my life. I do not want to contact Jody. Jody has tried to set me up, fight me, have her sister jump on me. I took a TPO out on her. She had her family threaten me to get the TPO off, and I dropped the TPO, ma'am. I dropped the TPO off of her, and her family continued to threaten me and my children. My children are in danger.
Okay.
My children, and even with them, they continue to tell people, why do you got to tell the whole world where they are?
All right. Thank you.
Just, can you keep it private? They're not safe. I'm just asking, please release me. I am not a threat to the community. I do not even come to Atlanta as much. I will stay away from Atlanta. I will take any classes that I need to take or anything that needs to be done. But even the previous attorney threatened my mother. That's why I don't want her on this case. She called my mother and threatened my mother. Atlanta attorney called and threatened my mother.
Ms. Glass, please stop. Ms. Edmondson is only in the case because she's the alleged victim. And Annie Tribble is only in the case because they are the alleged victim. And from your criminal record history, you have multiple open cases, multiple. Ms. Edmondson, you can leave the Zoom. My biggest concern is that you were given a signature bond through pretrial, and if you were reporting, that's good. But soon after that, you get arrested again for another battery to family violence. So you have a pattern of alleged violence. And my biggest concern is that you don't seem to be able to avoid getting arrested. Your bond modification is denied and your cases are going to go for trial. Ms. McLeod, have you filed a waiver in these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. These are going to be further notice for jail jury. Thank you.
I will file in the older case because I
All
have
right.
not filed in that one yet, but I have filed in the newer case.
All right. And please keep in mind in the underlying battery case, Ms. Zakia Watson Cafe has filed a motion to withdraw. So if you just file an entry of appearance, and that way it will sua sponte, allow Ms. Watson Cafe to withdraw.
I will do that, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Number 6, Hampton.
This is Kenneth Hampton, accused of criminal trespass and possession and use of drug-related objects from March 13th, 2025. Mr. Hampton, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. White. This is going to be a negotiated plea. Will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Falk? Please unmute.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state's recommendation on the criminal trespass is 12 months served 32 days. Credit for time served 16 days. From March 19th, 2025 until today, balance probated. Stay away from the Garden Inn Motel at 6701 Shannon Parkway and 40 hours of community service. On count 2, we are requesting 12 months to run concurrent with count 1 and an ADET. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and identification for the purposes of this plea. That's all for the state.
Mr. White, does your client accept the terms, and do you so stipulate?
We do, Judge.
Mr. Hampton, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently? I can't hear you.
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
If you decide to plead guilty to these charges, you would have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury to be able to confront your accuser, challenge evidence that would be brought before you, present your own defenses and arguments, and the state won't have to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to criminal trespass at the Garden Inn Motel and possession and use of drug-related objects?
Plead guilty.
Your sentence for trespass is 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. If you have no other cases holding you at the jail, you will report to probation on Monday before 3 p.m. And while on probation, you will do 40 hours of community service at any nonprofit agency. And it cannot be a church and it cannot be a school. You must do your community service at a minimum rate of 5 hours per month. At all times, you have to stay away from the Garden Inn Motel at 6701 Shannon Parkway. With regards to the drug-related object, your sentence is 12 months concurrent with count 1. And within 15 days of being released, you must submit to an alcohol and drug evaluation and undertake any treatment that is required by the evaluator. While you are on probation, you are not to consume any illegal drugs and no alcohol, and you'll be subject to random screens by probation. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, speaking to position number 19, Mr. Robinson.
Did you say 19?
Yeah, yes, I did.
All right. Is this Ronald Robeson?
No.
All right. Is that your client, Mr. White?
It is.
All right. And Mr. Robeson, you are accused of fair evasion and criminal trespass, case 25 CR 1499D from March 21st of this year. You've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Mr. White. May I place you under oath for the plea? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Repeat.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Malghizo, yes, good morning. What is the recommendation?
Good morning, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is for the fair evasion count 1, time served 40 days, credit for time served 13 days. That is from March 22nd, 2025 till today. For count 2 is 12 months to serve, 40 days, credit for time served, 13 days, from March 2022, March 22nd, 2025, to run concurrent with count 1, balance suspended, stay away from all MARTA stations. There is already a permanent ban in place. And we ask that the defense stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for purposes of the plea. That's all for the state.
All right. So, Mr. White, your client will be spending 7 more days in the jail before he's released?
That's the way we understand it, Judge.
All right. And do you so stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do.
All right. Mr. Roberson, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that you'll have 7 more days to serve at the Fulton County Jail, 7 whole days, day and night.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And if you decide to plead guilty to these charges, you would, I'm sorry, are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you decide to plead guilty, you would have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You won't get the opportunity to confront your accuser, challenge evidence brought against you, present your defenses and arguments, and have the state prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to fair evasion and criminal trespass at MARTA?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I know you agree, but how do you plead?
Guilty.
On count 1, the fair evasion, your sentence is going to be 40 days to serve 13 days. So you have 7 more days to serve on that sentence. On the criminal trespass is going to be 12 months to serve 40 days. Credit for time served 13 days, balance suspended. Once you've completed the 7 days and if you have no other holds, you'll be released. Please keep in mind that you have a permanent ban from all MARTA services and property, which means that you cannot return to any MARTA property, including their buses, trains, their stations, sidewalks, and their facilities. Thank you.
Judge,
Mhm.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Your Honor, next we're gonna have Mr. Magnum, position 14.
Position number 14, you say?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'll be with you very soon, Deputy Milton. Ms. Kim, could Mr. Roberson please come back? I just need to make a correction on the plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just Mr. Roberson, yeah.
He's coming.
All right. Ms. Magizo, on count 1, technically speaking, I cannot use the language time served since he's got that other charge. So I'm going to make that 12 months to serve 40 days, credit for time served 13 days, concurrent with count 2. Any objection, Mr. White? It's semantics, but it has the same outcome.
Sorry, I was muted. I said no, Your Honor. No objection.
No objection. Okay. Mr. Roberson, we just wanted to correct the count 1 sentence so that it reflects correctly on both charges. Thank you. Okay. Position 14 is at ACDC. That is going to be Mr. Mangum, Ms. Kim's client.
Your Honor, I have to find out what happened to her another case, which had a hearing yesterday, so I would like to talk to her for about 2 minutes.
Is that involving in this case?
This case may be impacting that case versus the other way. I mean, that case can impact this. So I
Okay.
need to verify.
Who's the person you need to speak with?
Malcolm Murphy, number 16. I mean, sorry, I meant to say number 14, Mengham, Brandon Mengham.
So you need to speak with him.
Yes.
All right. Can ACDC call into the courtroom too?
Yes, Your Honor, we're gonna call 2060.
All right. Mr. Mangum, your attorney wants to speak with you.
Thank you.
Next case, Mr. Murphy, good morning. Who's your client?
I have position 7, Courtney Harris.
All right. Let the jail know. Okay. Who do we have in courtroom 2?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, courtroom 2, who is it?
This is Courtney Harris, number 7.
Oh,
Judge.
yes, Mr. Murphy?
Judge, he has a revocation coming up on May 13th, so we're not going to be accepting the state's offer. We can just send this back to Judge Mather.
Courtney Harris is accused of battery, family violence from February 24th, 2025, case number 25 CR 1462G. Have you filed a waiver, Mr. Murphy, or has he been arraigned?
Okay, so you want to take the plea?
We had we had waived presence last week because of his illness, but I'll file a formal waiver today.
A waiver was submitted on March 20th, so you don't have to submit another one.
Okay, very good.
And Mr. Harris, your attorney, is entering a not guilty plea on your behalf, and your case is going to be further noticed for trial. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Mhm.
Position number 18 is Mr. Randall.
Excuse me, Judge. The interpreter is on and she has limited time. Can you find
Oh.
how soon they'll be able to hear her case?
Judge, Judge, I would say that I need to speak to Franklin Randall, so then we could always come back to me, but I'm hoping to speak to Franklin Randall. That's a
All
new.
right.
Mr. Murphy, call courtroom to 404-612-2060, please.
Will do. Thank you, Judge. I'll jump off and talk to him. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. White, Ms. Kim, or any of the other defense counsel, which of your clients needs a Spanish interpreter?
That's mine, Your Honor. That's position 9, Juan Hernandez, and I'm going to need a breakout.
Juan Hernandez. Okay. Courtroom 2, do we have a Juan Hernandez in the courtroom?
He's on the way up.
Okay. Is there a way that Mr. White can speak with him with the interpreter?
I mean, you have to be done in here because I'm the only person.
All right. Ms. Kim, is there a device that Mr. Hernandez can be placed on so that I can put him in a breakout with the interpreter and Mr. White?
Yes, I can bring my laptop to another room so he can talk to his, yes, I can do that.
Can he go to another room?
Over there. Over there.
They're trying their best, Mr. White.
Hold
I
on.
understand, but
Okay.
doesn't it make sense to just put us on in courtroom 2 and then you could handle ACDC in the meantime?
Ms. Kim is required for ACDC.
We can do number 18 Williams if you want to do him. I'm sorry, number 26 Williams. He has
All
him.
right. Have you finished your conversation? Has Ms. Kim finished a conversation with Mr. Mangum?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. I did
Okay.
Conversation. He is taking a plea deal.
He's not taking the plea deal?
Yes, he is taking a plea deal.
Okay, go ahead and set up the device for Mr. White because our interpreter is on the clock. She needs to be somewhere else. And the other position was 26.
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Okay. And who represents Mr. Williams? Oh, that's Miss Kim also.
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. You healthy.
I just want Miss Kim to set up the device so Mr. White can speak to his client.
Probably would have been done by now.
So who represent Mr. Stevens, 23 and 24?
It's going to be Miss Kim or conflict. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Ms. Hernandez is my last one that we'll be handling in court.
Okay.
So, let me ask you, number 18, have we handled Mr. Randall? Oh, there she is. Okay.
He's on the phone talking to Mr. Murphy.
Okay, thank you. All right, Miss Grace, can you place Miss Kim's device, J. Kim, where Mr. Hernandez is there? Miss Lucia, thank you so much for being here. We're going to put you into a breakout with Tom White. So Tom White, Mr. Hernandez, who's at Miss Kim's device, and Miss Lucia, you'll be placed into a breakout. Miss Kim, let's get to ACDC for Mr. Mangum. And this is going to be a plea deal. Mr. Mangum is accused of theft by shoplifting from June 8th of last year. Case number 24 CR 6357G. Mr. Mangum, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. J. Kim. And may I place you under oath for your plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation for Mr. Mangum?
State's recommendation is 12 months served, 190 days, credit for time served, 102 days. That is from September 8th to September 26th, 2024, and January 4th, 2025 until today. Balance probated, a $500 fine, 40 hours of community service, and an anti-theft course. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea. The defendant has, I believe, a number of other cases still holding him in custody. So this case will not release him, unfortunately.
All right. Ms. Kim, does your client accept the terms? And looks like he had a bond surrender in this case. Okay. And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, we do. We would like to request that $500 fine to be converted to 50 hours of community service. And after he's done with his anti-theft course and community service, we would like the probation to be done reported. I'm sorry, I apologize for my.
All right, let me see. So this alleged offense occurred on June 8th, 2024. And he was given a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial. And then he was released on September 26th. And then he got arrested again on January 4th, 2025 on 5 counts, felony counts of theft by shoplifting, ranging from December 28th through January 3rd, 2025. I'll amend the 50 hours to community service, but he's going to be on probation every month once he resolves his felony charges. He just has a significant pattern of shoplifting, and he's not going to be off the hook on this one.
Yes, Your Honor.
I know.
All right, Mr. Mangum, I'm agreeing to reduce it to, amend the $500 fine to 50 hours of community service, which is going to mean that it's going to be a total of 90 hours of community service, but you're still going to be required to do the anti-theft class once you're released from all your cases, and you'll be required to report to probation every month and pay your probation fees every month for the remainder of the 12 months. So it'll be 365 days minus 102 days. So it'll be on probation for about 2/3 of the year. Is this something you'd like to consider, or would you like to go to trial?
I consider it.
Your what?
I will consider it.
And would you like to accept that, or would you like to go to trial?
I accept the plea.
Okay. Mr. Mangum, please raise, have I placed you under oath?
Yes.
Okay. So Ms. Kim, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Mr. Mangum, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case, including the modification to the sentence?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And if you decide to plead guilty to this charge, you would have to give up your right to a trial. You will not go back to court to face your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, be able to present your own defenses and arguments through counsel, and have the state prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to do so?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of theft by shoplifting from June 8th, 2024?
Yes.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 190 days, credit for time served 102 days. So technically speaking, your jail time for this charge is over, but you have these other charges holding you at the jail. Once you are released from these other charges and other cases, you will then begin probation in this particular case. You will report to probation within 48 hours of being released, and you will report on the first available Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. While you are on probation, you will enroll in an anti-theft class within 60 days of being released, and you must complete that class in a timely manner. You are to complete 90 hours of community service, that's 90, and you must do a minimum of 20 hours per month. And you can do the community service at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. And these requirements will need to be completed. Every month when you report, you must also be up to date with your probation fees. And I believe that completes it. Thank you.
Come on. We're gonna do position 23 and 24, Stephen.
23 and 24. Who do we have in the courtroom?
23 and 24, Stephen.
Oh, okay. Mr. Jordan will look into that. So we have Rashad Stevens seated next to Ms. Kim, accused of criminal trespass from March 9th, 2025 in case 25 CR 1246F, and accused of criminal trespass causing damage to property from March 8th, 2025 in case 25 CR 1445F. Mr. Stevens, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. And I understand that this is going to be a non-negotiated plea. All right. Deputy, is there a reason why Mr. Mangum is still at ACDC?
Yes, Your Honor, he has a question.
All right, please hold. All right, so with regards to Mr. Stevens, Ms. Kim?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, briefly, we are ready for the Spanish interpreter case, and she has limited time if you wanted to handle that one.
All right. Mr. Mangum, please hold. Ms. Kim and Ms. Stevens, please hold. I have a time crunch on this particular case. This is Mr. Hernandez, correct?
That's correct. Position number 9, Judge. That is going to be a negotiated plea this morning.
Okay. Ms. Lucia, do you solemnly swear and affirm the translation you provide will be true and accurate without any changes or embellishments?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is Francisco Hernandez, accused of battery from March 19th, 2025.
No, Judge, this is Juan Hernandez. It's a DUI.
I'm sorry.
9, yep.
Oh, sorry. Juan Hernandez, excuse me. I beg your pardon. This is Juan Hernandez, accused of 4 traffic incidences stemming from March 9th, 2025.
Este es el señor Juan Hernández, al cual se le acusa por un incidente ocurrido el 9 de marzo del 2025 mientras manejaba.
His case number is 25 CR 1346Y.
El número de caso es el 25 CR 001346Y.
He's accused of failure to yield right of way, possession of open alcohol container.
Las acusaciones que tiene en contra suya son no ceder el paso, el poseer un contenedor, un contenedor con alcohol abierto.
He's also got a charge of driving under the influence of alcohol and driving without a valid license.
Tiene una acusación de manejar bajo la influencia de alcohol y manejar sin una licencia de conducir válida.
Mr. Hernandez, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court can and will be used against you. You have a right to counsel. If you cannot afford one, Mr. White will be your attorney.
Señor Hernández, usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio. Cualquier cosa que usted diga puede ser y será usada en contra suya. También tiene el derecho de tener su propio abogado. Si usted no puede contratar su propio abogado, el señor Tom White, que es abogado de la defensa pública, le puede representar por el día de hoy.
Mr. White, how are we proceeding in this case?
It's a negotiated plea, Judge.
Y el señor White le pregunta a la juez cómo van a proceder en este caso y él dice que se llegó a un acuerdo con la fiscalía.
Okay, so Ms. Falk, on count 1 and count 2 is time served 44 days, credit for time served 22 days. Would that be correct?
That is correct.
En las primeras acusaciones, en las primeras dos acusaciones, la sentencia es de 44 días en la cárcel, le dan crédito por los 22 días que ya ha servido y lo siguiente será en probatoria.
And what's the offer for count 3 and 4?
Count 3 is 12 months, served 44 days, credit for time served 22 days.
En la acusación número 3 le van a dar 12 meses y para estar encarcelado 44 días, crédito por los 22 días ya servidos y lo demás en probatoria.
Balance probated, DUI risk reduction, 2 victim impact panels, ADET, 40 hours of community service, and a $600 fine.
Entonces, el resto del tiempo va a estar en probatoria. Aparte de eso, tiene que tomar una clase de reducción de riesgo y de manejar bajo la influencia de alcohol. Tiene que sujetarse a evaluaciones de alcohol y droga y cualquier tratamiento, 40 horas de servicio a la comunidad, 2 paneles de víctima y una multa de $600.
On count 4, the recommendation is 12 months served 44 days, credit for time served 22 days, with a $135 fine.
En el caso, en la acusación número 4, I am so sorry, Ms. Falk. Could you repeat that? You broke up for the interpreter.
My apologies. 12 months served 44 days, credit for time served 22 days, a $135 fine.
Y en la última acusación es igual 12 meses y para que sirva, para que esté preso 44 días, los 22 días ya servidos, el resto en probatoria y una multa de $135.
And that will also be on probation.
Y eso también va a ser en probatoria la diferencia.
Mr. White, does your client accept these terms and do you so stipulate?
Yes, Your Honor, we stipulate.
Y la juez pregunta a su abogado si es que usted, señor Hernández, acepta estos términos y el abogado dijo que sí.
Mr. Hernandez, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
¿Jura usted, señor Hernández, que el testimonio que va a darnos el día de hoy será la verdad, solo la verdad y nada más que la verdad bajo palabra de Dios?
Lo puedo.
I swear. Puede bajar su mano.
Have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
¿Ha consumido usted alguna medicina, medicamento o una bebida alcohólica recientemente?
Desde el día que tuve el accidente, no.
No, not since the day I had the accident.
Have you, have you understood what's going on in your case and have you understood your lawyer?
¿Ha entendido usted a su abogado y ha entendido usted lo que estaba sucediendo en su caso?
Lo que no entendí si voy a estar 44 días preso o cuántos días me falta para salir bajo probatoria.
The only thing I didn't understand is when you said, when it was said the 44 days, does that mean that I have to stay for 44 days or how much longer do I have to be in jail?
Your jail time is concluded. If you have no other cases holding you, you'll be released within 24 hours, but you must report to probation on Monday.
Su permanencia en la cárcel ha terminado, siempre y cuando no tenga otros casos abiertos. Y si él va a salir de la cárcel en las próximas 24 horas y necesita reportarse con probatoria el día lunes. Okay.
So, are you satisfied with your legal services?
¿Está satisfecho usted con los servicios legales recibidos?
Sí, muchas gracias.
Yes, thank you very much.
If you decide to plead guilty to these charges, you will be placed on probation.
Si usted decide declararse culpable en contra de estas acusaciones, por estas acusaciones le van a poner en probatoria.
You will also have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not get an opportunity to go back to a court of law.
también va a tener que renunciar a su derecho de de llevar este caso a un juicio en frente de un juez y un jurado. Y eso es algo que ya no podrá hacer en este caso.
You won't be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, present your own defenses and arguments.
No va a poder confrontar a quien le acusa, ni revisar la evidencia que tienen en contra suya, ni poner su propia evidencia en frente de en un juicio.
And the prosecutor won't have to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Y la fiscalía no va a tener que comprobar estos cargos en contra suya más allá de una duda razonable.
Are you prepared to give up these rights?
¿Está usted preparado para renunciar a esos derechos?
Sí.
Yes.
How do you plead to driving under the influence of alcohol and driving without a valid license?
¿Cómo se declara usted en las acusaciones de manejar bajo la influencia de alcohol y manejar sin licencia de conducir válida?
Culpable.
Guilty.
How do you plead to failure to yield right of way and possession of an open alcohol container?
¿Cómo se declara en el cargo de no haber cedido el paso y posesión de un contenedor abierto con alcohol?
Culpable.
Guilty.
For the failure to yield right of way and possession of open alcohol container, your sentence is 44 days, credit for 22 days.
Por las primeras dos acusaciones, el no ceder el paso y el posesión y tener un contenedor de alcohol abierto, su sentencia es de 44 días en la cárcel, pero ya únicamente con servir los 22 días y el resto en probatoria.
Your sentence for count 4, driving without a valid license, is going to be 12 months to serve 44 days, credit for time served 22 days, balance probated. You report to probation and you will have to pay a $135 fine.
Por la última acusación, la cuarta de manejar sin licencia de conducir, la sentencia es de 12 meses para estar en la cárcel 44 días, de los cuales se le acredita los 22 días y el resto va a ser en probatoria. Y tiene que reportarse el día lunes a probatoria, donde tiene que pagar la multa de $135.
On the driving under the influence of alcohol, your sentence is 12 months to serve 44 days, credit for time served 22 days. The remainder of the time will be on probation.
En la acusación de manejar bajo la influencia de alcohol, la sentencia es de 12 meses para estar en la cárcel 44 días, crédito por los 22 días servidos ya y el resto en probatoria.
You will report to probation on Monday, April 7th before 3 p.m. It is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta.
Se reportará a probatoria este lunes que viene, 7 de abril, antes de las 3 de la tarde. Y eso queda en el centro de Atlanta. En la dirección va a ser 132 Mitchell Street.
While on probation, you will complete the following classes and conditions.
Go
ahead.
Your Honor. I got you. Go ahead.
You will do a risk reduction course, attend and complete 2 victim impact panels, complete 40 hours of voluntary community service, undergo a alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment, and pay an additional $600 fine.
Durante el periodo que usted esté en probatoria, usted va a tener que hacer lo siguiente. Tiene que tomar una clase, un curso sobre reducción de riesgo por conducir bajo la influencia de alcohol. Tiene que sujetarse a evaluación de drogas y alcohol y cualquier tratamiento que indique esa evaluación. Tiene que servir 40 horas de servicio a la comunidad. Tiene que participar en 2 paneles de impactos a víctimas y tiene que pagar una multa de $600 por esa acusación.
You are to report to probation every month, be up to date with your probation fees. You are not allowed to consume any alcohol and illegal drugs.
Tiene que reportarse a probatoria cada mes. tiene que pagar sus gastos de probatoria y durante el periodo que esté en probatoria no puede beber bebidas alcohólicas, ni drogas, ni
You
consumir
will,
drogas.
you will be subject to random screens for alcohol and illegal drugs by probation.
El departamento de probatoria va a tener el derecho de llamarlo a usted y sujetarlo a usted a pruebas sin aviso, pruebas de alcohol y pruebas de drogas. Durante el periodo que usted esté en probatoria, usted va a estar sujeto a esas pruebas sin aviso anterior.
And no driving unless you have a valid license, adequate insurance, and proper registration.
Y no puede manejar si no tiene una licencia de conducir válida, aseguranza apropiada y registración y placa de del carro.
Thank you.
Gracias, eso es todo.
Your Honor, we ask that probation go to non-reporting once he completes all of his requirements.
Denied. This was an accident case.
Okay,
All right.
Same- just different result.
Understood, but it's denied. Thank you.
Y I'll just let him know that. Y la probatoria no va a terminar cuando termine de hacer estas cosas. La probatoria va a durar los 12 meses.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. White, I think that was your last case. Mr. Murphy, did you have an announcement for which case?
Franklin Randall, and that's going to be a plea this morning.
Okay,
And Your Honor, just one question. Am I free to go? Does the court need me anymore?
I believe that was the only case we needed an interpreter. Can the attorneys please, if you have a client who needs an interpreter, this will be the time to chime up.
So as far as I know, that was the only one.
All right, Miss Lucia, you better run away before we keep you here. All right, take care.
Have a good day.
All right, Mr. Murphy, we will get to your client. ACDC, Mr. Mangum, what was your question? And where's Miss Kim?
Here, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, what was your question, Mr. Mangum?
Well, for the plea I just took, it was 2 charges on that plea. Was both of the counts ran concurrent?
There were 2 charges?
Yes, it should have been 2 charges.
I only have 1 charge and it's listed. The other charges are all felony charges in Superior Court.
Should have been 2.
Your Honor, I can go back and double check, but I only saw 1 as well, Mr. Headley. I mean, yeah, sorry, not Mr. Headley. Mr. Mangum, I only saw 1, so let me go back and double check.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mangum, hold for Ms. Folk to let us know. Ms. Kim, is that Mr. Robeson with you?
No,
Mr. Randall,
Mr.
Murphy's client.
I'm sorry, who's the gentleman next to you?
That's Mr. Randall, number 8.
Mr. Randall, that's Mr.
Mike.
Murphy's client. Okay. Okay, Franklin Randall is accused of simple battery from March 7th, 2025, case 25 CR 1496G. Mr. Randall, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Dennis Murphy. May I place you under oath for your plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Melgizo, what is Mr. Randall's offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is 12 months, 90 days to serve, credit for time served, 27 days. That's from March 7th, 2025 till today's date. Balance suspended and no further contact with Deontay Bryan. We ask that the defense stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of this plea.
We will do so stipulate, and judge my client wishes to enter a nolo plea if the court will approve it. It is a jam.
He's got another case from 21 CR 1682G. And that was disorderly conduct and cruelty in the 3rd degree. The disorderly conduct was reduced from battery, family violence, and he did not successfully finish probation. So the request for a nolo is denied.
Duly noted, my client will still wishes to proceed with a guilty plea to the aforesaid charge.
All right, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do so, Judge, and I've gone over the forms with my client, and he has authorized me to sign in the two places and initial on the required place as well.
Understood. Mr. Randall, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
The court is denied your request for a nolo contendere or nolo plea. Are you still willing to proceed freely, voluntarily, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
Repeat.
Yes, ma'am.
If you decide to plead guilty to this charge, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not get the opportunity to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery from March 7th of this year?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 90 days, credit for time served 27 days. After you've completed the additional time at the jail, your probation, the remainder of your sentence will be suspended. And at all times, once you're released, you are to have no contact with Deontay Bryan. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
We could go back
Thank you.
to position number 23 and 24, Stevens.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have. I'll get the
All right,
paper.
Mr. Murphy.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I just wanted to make an announcement. We did get the signed order on Unique Patterson, and I turned that over to Ms. Strong for your signature.
It's signed and the case will be transferred today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
23 and 24. Ms. Kim, refresh my memory. Did I remind him of his rights in the case? So I can just do it again. I think his two cases are 25 CR 001246F, criminal trespass, and 25 CR 001445F, criminal trespass causing damage to property. And this is a non-negotiated plea, which means, Mr. Stevens, that the prosecutor is going to give one recommendation and your attorney is going to give another recommendation. I will let you know which recommendation I will accept, keeping in mind that I can disregard both of them and have the case reset for trial. Please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Melgizo, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation for the criminal trespass, that's position 23, is 12 months, 45 days to serve, credit for time served, 25 days. That's from March 10, 2025. Balance probated, stay away from 307 University Avenue Southwest. No further contact with Ms. Dewana Coffin. For position 24, the criminal trespass and damage to property, the state's recommendation is 12 months, 60 days to serve, credit for time served, 25 days. That's from March 10th, 2025 till today. Balance probated, no further contact with Joanna Young. Stay away from 1463 Pryor Road Southwest. A $342 restitution to Joanna Young. And that's the global recommendation. Your Honor, would you like to hear a little bit about the facts?
Yes, go ahead.
Absolutely. For position 23, the victim, Dewana Coffin, is actually the defendant's sister. He has a persistent pattern of entering the property, creating disturbances, damaging her property. He has made threats against her. On the day of the incident, the victim called the police. When the police arrived, the defendant was standing on the front porch. They have a previous case, that's 24 CR 000930J, and it's the defendant with the same victim. We did speak with the victim, and she says that he keeps coming back to her residence, threatening her, breaking her windows, She is afraid of the defendant. She thinks the defendant is dangerous and doesn't want any more contact with him and wants him to stay away from her residence. For the Precision 24 case, the victim had parked her car outside of her job. She works at the Lewis Worley Library. When she got out of work around 1:30 p.m., she discovered extensive damage to her car. The defendant was identified on available video footage, and the video shows the defendant deliberately throwing a rock at the victim's car, and the rock completely shattered the windshield, and there were scratches to the top bumper. We also spoke with the victim in this case, which is Joanna Young. She agrees with the state's offer and recommendation. She doesn't know the defendant, but she does want the defendant to stay away from the location.
All right, so on position 23, he's being credited for 45 days? And he served 25 days?
No, credit for time served 25 days and then to serve 45 days.
Okay, so his jail time for position 23 would be completed.
Yes.
But on position 24 is to serve 60 days, credit for time served 25 days. So he has 5 more days to serve at the jail.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Kim, what's the recommendation?
We would like to request for that 5 days to be waived, Your Honor. Well, he is a father of 2 children, and baby mother for those 2 children is out of the life. And he and his mother who live together are actually raising those 2 children. And he has been a full major financial supporter for doing temp services and here and there, Your Honor. He's willing to pay for the restitution, and also he has to take care of his auntie who is sick, who is 70 years old, and she's in a hospital for cancer, and they need extra caregiver. So he would like to be released as of tomorrow or today.
When was the last time he cared for his aunt?
When was the last time you cared for your aunt?
Because I'm really curious since we've had him in jail.
Well, yeah, about 26 days ago, that's what he says.
He was in jail from June 2022 to April of 2023. That's 1 year, almost 1 year, 320 days. And then he spent another 213 days in jail from August 2023 to March of 2024. And then he missed us so much, he came back less than 3 months later on May of 2024 and was released on October 2024. And then he got rebooked into Fulton County Jail on February 5th, 2025, released on March 1st, 2025, and then got booked back in on March 10th, 2025, 9 days later. So either he misses us terribly because he has spent more time with us since 2022 than with his aunt or with his kids or anyone else. So Mr. Stevens, I truly appreciate the fact that you like us so much or you like the jailhouse staff that much, but there's absolutely no way that I'm going to accept the defense recommendation. And I think the state's recommendation is extremely lenient, considering that you have a very high likelihood to re-offend once you're back out there. So would he like to proceed with the plea as recommended by the state? And he'll be reporting to probation twice a month, by the way, not once a month, twice a month, because I want him to make good friends with probation and not with the jailhouse staff.
Your Honor, if we could also sound for the victims in case they're here and wish to speak.
I hope they are. Dewana Coffin and Joanna Young? No, they're too busy. All right, Ms. Kim, would your client like to accept this offer with reporting to probation twice a month? And if he even gets arrested again one more time, he's going to be back in jail. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be a consecutive sentence. He's going to be a probation for up to 2 years. He has to think about it. So I can, while we are letting him think about it, we can mute courtroom 2.
Simply, I ain't gotta think about it.
He says.
He understands that it'll be consecutive, up to 2 years on probation.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the first year will be reporting twice a month. The second year, if you don't get arrested at all, it'll be once a month.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Falk, have you got any updates on Mr. Mangum? I think it was only one misdemeanor charge.
I do, Your Honor. I just did not wish to interrupt. Yes, Mr. Mangum only had one charge of a misdemeanor. I double-checked both, Mr. Mangum, I double-checked both the clerk's record and the jail record. The remaining theft by shopliftings you have are all felony theft by shopliftings.
Oh.
You may have one in municipal court, but you do not have one with state court.
Okay.
All
Okay?
right, thank you.
I was talking about the one in regards, they came off my bond though. Did we have
Your
that?
bond currently is $16,500.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, courtroom 2, going back to Mr. Stevens. Mr. Stevens has already been placed under oath. Ms. Kim, does your client stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for both cases?
Yes, he does.
All right. For Rashad Stevens on the, Mr. Stevens, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am, young.
And have you understood what's going on in both your cases?
Ma'am, young.
And are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes, yes, ma'am, young.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea to both these cases, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial. You will not go back to a court of law to face your accusers, challenge the evidence that will be brought against you, present your own defenses and arguments through your attorney, and have the state prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am, young.
On criminal trespass involving Devana Coffin on March 9th, 2025, how do you plead?
I believe guilty, young.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 45 days, credit for time served 25 days, balance probated. While you're on probation for this case, you will report to probation twice a month, although you'll only be required to pay probation fees for once a month. You're to stay away from 307 University Avenue, Southwest Atlanta. That's 200 yards away. That's the length of 2 football fields. And you're to stay 200 yards away and not communicate with Miss Devana Coffin, Coffen.
Yes, ma'am.
With regards to your second case, how do you plead to criminal trespass causing damage to property on March 8th, 2025?
Please guilty, young.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 60 days, credit for time served 18 days. You have 5 more days to serve at the Fulton County Jail, after which you will report to probation, and you will report to probation next Thursday. I think it's April 10th, and you will report before 3 p.m. This will be a sentence consecutive to position 23. And if you report to probation, you're compliant with probation, then for this consecutive sentence, you'll report once a month. At all times, you are to have no contact with Joanna Young. You're to stay away from 1463 Pryor Road in Southwest Atlanta. You have to pay a restitution of $342 to Miss Joanna Young, and you have 6 months to pay off that restitution.
Yes, ma'am, young.
And he also has to stay away from 260 Fieldstone Drive in Fairburn, Georgia. So 2 locations from which he has to stay away. All right. You have to report to probation every month. Like I said, first year, twice a month, second year, once a month, if all else is good. And if you violate any of the terms of probation, or if you get arrested again, your probation will be revoked and you will complete the rest of the 2 years in prison. Thank you.
In prison.
Yes, sir. If you violate probation, you have to go to prison.
Oh, for misdemeanors? They send it for the prison?
Yes, sir.
What it is, what it is. Yeah.
So make sure you don't get arrested again.
Yeah,
We don't
ma'am.
want to see you at the jail anymore. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you.
Let's go to position number 26, William.
This was 26?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, this is Jaleel Jason Williams, accused of battery, family violence, and theft by taking from November 18th, 2024. Mr. Williams, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, how are we proceeding?
The first one, he would like to proceed for NOLO negotiated plea, and also 27, he pleads guilty, Your Honor. Oh, never mind, Your Honor, I made a mistake. We were wondering if we can add 25 CR 001577E, which is scheduled to have a hearing on next week, April 8th. I was wondering if we can add that day's calendar as well.
I don't see a plea offer in the other case. Has that been addressed by Ms. Melgiza?
No, Your Honor, we were unaware. Can we ask for a 1-week reset?
See, 12 months, 30 days, so yeah, he'll have additional jail time to serve in this plea offer. And his other case is 25 CR
On Tuesday, calendar.
1577E. I can, it's scheduled before, I think Judge Morrow for next Tuesday,
Yeah, we will just keep it that way, Your Honor.
April 8th?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Position 26 is going to be reset to April 8th along with his other open case. And maybe you'll get a global recommendation from the state at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next is number 28, right?
Okay. I'm just waiting on Miss Kim. Miss Kim, are we ready to proceed?
What's the number, Your Honor?
Position 28, Mr. Travion Raymond Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, he pleads not guilty. This is a waiver of arraignment.
All right. Mr. Wright, you've been charged with failure to keep drugs in original container and disorderly conduct. Your attorney has entered a not guilty plea on your behalf, and this case will be further notice for jail jury. Thank you.
Thank you.
You ready for your one? We're gonna do number 27, Wilson.
All right. This is State versus Benny Wilson, accused of disorderly conduct, battery, criminal trespass, and simple battery from February 24th, 2025. Mr. Wilson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Bartel. All right, good morning, Mr. Bartel. And how are we proceeding? A non-negotiated plea?
It is a non-negotiated plea, Your Honor. It's just a number of days to serve with this agreement. The state is requesting some anger management community service. We're not opposed to that.
Ms. Melgizo, is it? Well, I'll let you articulate the plea offer. But Mr. Wilson, if you please raise your right hand, may I place you under oath for the plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Melgiza?
Yes, Your Honor. Would you like me to start with the recommendation or with
Just the plea offer first.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Sorry, this is 27, yeah. For count one, the state's recommendation is 12 months, 150 days to serve, credit for time served, 38 days. This from February 25th, 2025. This to run concurrent with count three. Count three, the state's recommendation is 12 months, 150 days to serve, credit for time served 38 days, balance probated, stay away from the BP gas station located at 160 Ponce de Leon Avenue Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30308. No further contact with Abusai Khan. He is the BP employee. And no further contact with Lawrence Hawkins. He is the BP security guard. For count two, the state's recommendation is 12 months, 150 days to serve, credit for time served 38 days, balance prorated, 8-week anger management, 40 hours of community service, no further contact with Abusai Khan and Mr. Lawrence Hawkins. Stay away from the BP gas station located at the 160 address. And for count four, we're just going to merge that with count two.
All right. And what is the factual basis for this offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant had been criminal trespass from the location before. He has been asked several times to stay away. On the day of the incidents, the security guard, Mr. Hawkins, saw the defendant walk into the gas station, and he followed the defendant, asking him to please leave the business. The defendant grabbed a metal coffee tray and struck Mr. Hawkins in the face, and then he proceeded to punch him in the face. The security, Mr. Hawkins, and the defendant wrestled, and finally, Mr. Hawkins, the victim, was able to place the defendant into custody. Your Honor, the defendant has several convictions for criminal trespass here in Fulton, has one in 2023, another one in 2023, along with the disorderly conduct. Also 2018, he has 39 cycles in Georgia. So that's the reason for the state's recommendation.
All right. And this is Hawkins and Abusai Khan, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And according to the recommendation, he would need to spend an additional 37 days. Would that be correct, Mr. Bartel? Is that your math as well?
That is my calculation, Your Honor. It's 75 days to serve. I've advised him that the state's recommendation is 150 days, which is 75 days, a 2-for-1 credit, and he has served 38 days already.
All right. And anything else, Ms. Melgiza?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt. If we can please sound for Mr. Lawrence Hawkins and Mr. Khan in case they are present and wish to speak.
All right. Mr. Abusai Khan or Mr. Lawrence Hawkins? If you are present, I don't see anyone by those names. Okay, Mr. Bartel, what's the defense position?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. My client does want to enter a guilty plea. He believed that it's in his best interest at this time. He does dispute certain allegations. He indicates that he had been given permission to be there by another owner or manager. But again, he does understand what the state's allegations are, and he does believe it's in his best interest to enter a plea. We would just ask that the court give him, he's already served 38 days, so we would ask that the court sentence him to, I guess that would be 76 days to serve, credit for the 38 days, and then the other conditions as the state has asked for. My client was born January of 1963, so he is 62 years old right now. Right now, he is on 2 North. He's advised me that there are a number of individuals there that reportedly have COVID. Apparently, he's indicating he's heard there's some cases there on that wing. He has not tested positive, but that's why he's wearing a mask. He advised me that there are a number of older individuals there on 2 North that are at higher risk. He's also told me, and I've seen this in myself, he's had 4 teeth extracted in the last month. And I think 2 of those were just done the other day. He is in a significant amount of pain. I think he's just getting Tylenol for the pain. And that sort of traumatic procedure, I think, would put him more at risk. He does have dental services lined up at a dental clinic on North Avenue. He advised me that he's going to go there as soon as he's out of jail. So just considering all the facts, we would just ask the court to allow him to serve the time he's already served and then put him on probation.
Mr. Bartel, I have already read the warrants, and can you identify the person who allegedly gave him permission to be at the BP gas station at Ponce de Leon? Because it appears that Abu Zaid Khan is management and Mr. Hawkins is an employee there. So if he can identify the individual, I'm sure the state can check on that, and we can revisit the case next Thursday.
He's another employee, that allows me to come in there.
Do you know his name?
He's a Indian guy. I don't know his name personally.
I'm advised he can't give me a name, Your Honor.
Okay,
He's another worker.
understood. Mr. Wilson, given the number of arrest cycles you've got, the fact that you've got a high incidence of criminal activity, and given the fact that I've read the warrant and I'm very concerned about this alleged attack on the victim with a metal tray, I am more inclined to go with the state's recommendation that you would need to serve an additional 37 days at the jail and then be placed on probation, including staying away from the BP gas station. And while you're on probation, you'll be required to stay at least 500 yards away from the BP gas station. Would you like to consider that, or would you like to go to trial?
I will accept the plea, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Bartel, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do for the purposes of the plea, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
I do.
And are you satisfied with your legal services?
I will accept them.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
I will accept him.
That's non-responsive to my question. So unless you'd like to respond appropriately, are you satisfied or are you not satisfied with your attorney?
I am satisfied.
And are you entering a guilty plea to 3 charges freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
I am, ma'am.
If you decide to enter this plea to disorderly conduct, battery, and criminal trespass, you would have to give up your right to a trial. You will not go back to a court of law to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, be able to present your own defenses and arguments through an attorney, and the prosecutor won't have to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
I have a question with that. Are you telling me that I can't not file a lawsuit against him?
You will not be able to challenge these rights in a court of law and you will not be able to challenge the charges if you decide to plead guilty today.
Your Honor, I think I can advise Mr. Wilson that whatever civil remedy he wants to pursue, he can, but that's separate from this criminal proceeding.
Okay, if he's asking me about civil recourse of action, I don't have an answer to that question. But as far as the criminal wise goes, If he decides to plead guilty and accept that he is the defendant, he perpetrated these crimes and they occurred in Fulton County, that's what he will have to give up.
I agree.
All right, how do you plead to disorderly conduct, battery, and criminal trespass on February 24th, 2025?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Your sentence for the disorderly conduct is 12 months to serve 150 days, credit for time served 38 days, and this will be concurrent with count 3. On count 2 battery, his sentence is 12 months to serve 150 days, credit for time served 38 days, balance probated. He will report to probation on the first available Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday immediately upon being released from the Fulton County Jail. While on probation, he'll be required to complete 8 anger management classes, and he must enroll in those classes within 60 days of being released. He will do 40 hours of voluntary community service, and he must do his community service at a minimum of 5 hours per month. At all times, he's to stay 500 yards away from the BP gas station at 160 Ponce de Leon Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. He's to have no contact with Abu Zaid Khan and with Lawrence Hawkins, the BP security guard. For the criminal trespass, it will be 12 months to serve 150 days, credit for time served 38 days. The probation will be concurrent with count 2. Again, stay away from the BP, no contact with Mr. Khan and Mr. Hawkins. Count 4, simple battery, will merge with count 2.
And Your Honor, given this financial situation, we would just ask that the court consider waiving the first 2 months of probation.
I will waive probation fees for the first 60 days, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have a question, does it say how this incident occurred?
Your attorney has already admitted to the factual basis, and Ms. Melguizo has already explained how this incident occurred. Now, if you'd like a copy of the warrant to which you've already admitted that those incidents occurred, I'm sure Mr. Bartel will share that with you.
I want a copy of the warrant.
All right, I'll give him that, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. That concludes this case. Thank you. Mr. Bartel, did you have any other clients in courtroom 2?
No, Your Honor, there's one more gentleman here, but it's finished. Okay, yeah. I think we can do the 11 o'clock calendar if the court wants.
All right, just give me a few moments. Let me see. Is there a Darius Foster on Zoom? This is for the bench warrant matter. Darius Foster.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you'll need your video on.
Yes.
All right, good heavens. All right, okay. Mr. Foster, your case is 24 CR 5995C, in which you're accused of 2 counts of battery family violence from August 25th, 2024. There is a bench warrant that's been issued for your arrest under case number 25001209 FTA. And Mr. Foster, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Are you presently represented by counsel?
Yes.
Who's your attorney?
I spoke to him, Your Honor.
All right. And are we ready to proceed, Ms. Kim?
Yes, we are.
All right. And what is the reason that all right. Is he asking for a set aside?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, please proceed.
This is his first failure to appear, and Your Honor, he received the letter indeed after the hearing date, so he could not make an arrangement to come because it was too late. That's the excuse, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? He received a letter what?
Letter of the hearing, notice of hearing after March 14, 2025.
Okay. And what, why did he receive it after March 1st?
There's no reason for that, I guess, post office.
What is the delivery stamp file date on that letter?
I do not have it, Your Honor. Do you have a stamp delivery date for that letter?
Oh, do I have it?
Mr. Foster, your attorney is claiming that you received the letter after the hearing date. So I need to
Yes.
know, when was that letter delivered or mailed out to you?
Okay. Look, I have it right here.
All right. If you can take a picture of it and send it to your attorney. No,
Okay,
the envelope in which it came.
Oh. I don't think I have it. I don't think I have the envelope, but I have the letter.
And how often do you check your mail?
I check it often. I would say once a week.
Once a week?
Once, twice a week. Twice a week.
All right. Pretrial. Mr. Foster has a $5,000 signature bond for pretrial. Has he been reporting?
Yes, Your Honor, he has been reporting. However, I don't know what day the court was, but on March 6th, it appears that the pretrial officer informed him of the hearing date on March 14th. And then later, I believe on March 20th, the pretrial officer told the client that the client does not have a court date coming up. So between the 6th and the 20th, there should have been some awareness of a court date.
All right. Ms. Falk?
Well, Your Honor, it sounds like the defendant was given notice by his pretrial officer 8 days before the hearing that he had a hearing on March 14th. He said he has the letter, so clearly it went to the correct address. Him not checking his mail except for once every 1 week, that is not the state's failure. That is Mr. Foster's failure. And so we ask that the bench warrant remain in place unless he can show there's some reason between him receiving notice from pretrial services and him having the letter sent to him that he somehow did not know he was supposed to be in court.
Your Honor, this is his first here, and he does not understand the whole court system, and maybe he made a mistake, Your Honor. Can he have a mercy one time?
So, Mr. Foster, my jaw dropped when you said once a week. People, especially if you have a criminal case pending against you, oh, you can roll your eyes at me, but I am right now. I right now have to decide whether you report to jail and pay a bond or whether you get to continue on your pretrial release bond. So if you want to, no, but I'm going to tell you right now, you screwed up. You screwed up royally. All right. You are supposed to check your mail every day.
I understand, Your Honor, but that wasn't the main reason. The whole reason was because I had orientation for a new job on that date, unfortunately. And
So Foster, I would recommend you to stay and exercise your right to remain silent.
I'm going to set aside the bench warrant. I'm going to require you to report to pretrial, just as you're doing right now. And I'm going to direct that you check your mail every day.
Yes, ma'am.
You decide which is more important, going to work or are going to court. Because one, you get a paycheck, and the other one, you get to go back to jail. So you decide which is more important. Because if you get another bench warrant, well, don't even bother filing a motion set aside, just go straight to jail. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Kim, if you can submit an order setting aside the bench warrant, he's to continue on his $5,000 release signature bond, and he's to check his mail every day. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Foster, you're free to go. Please be mindful that I haven't signed the set aside yet. So if you go out and you get stopped by the cops, you could be arrested right away. So be mindful.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right.
All right.
Mr. I think we can go into competency, but I'd just like to go over the calendar just to see if there's anything I need to address. On the bench warrant calendar, that's a set aside. Okay, let me see. On position number 1, Bates is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. 2, Gaskin is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. 3 and 4, Gilead is going to be reset to the 11 a.m. calendar on April 11. Position 5 was a further notice for jail jury. Bond modification was denied. Position 6, Hampton was a plea. 7, Harris is a further notice for trial. 8, Hernandez was a negotiated plea. 9, that was Francisco Hernandez. 9, Juan Fernandez was a negotiated plea. 10, Hickson is a waiver and further notice for trial. 11, Hosh is reset to April 15th. Position 12 and 13, Jones is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. 14, Mangum was a plea. 15, Morgan is going to be reset to April 10th, next Tuesday. Yeah. No, next Thursday, excuse me. And 16, Malcolm Murphy is transferred to the Superior Court.
Your Honor, we'd ask for a 1-week reset on that. We're still waiting for the DA's office to approve the transfer.
Okay, so this is going to be reset to April 10th, pending a transfer. I'm sorry, the notes. Okay. 17, Patterson is transferred to Superior Court. Bond modification denied. Franklin Randall, I think we reset this, didn't we?
Randall took a plea.
I'm sorry, he took a plea. Okay. 19, Roberson was a plea. 20, Royale is going to be reset to April 15th. 21, Shabazz is reset to April 10th. 23 and 24 was a plea. 25, Breon Thomas is reset to SAP April 10th, next Thursday. Was that correct?
Thomas was 4-8.
Breon Thomas?
Is he the one that had the additional case?
No, he is not.
Position 26, that was Jaleel Williams. He's reset to April 8th.
And Mr. Jordan, he is the individual who had the additional case that we're joining him up with.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wrote it on the wrong case.
Not a problem.
Benny Wilson, position 27 was a plea, and position Travion Wright, position 28 was a waiver of arraignment and further notice jail jury. All right, that takes care of our SAP calendar. I don't believe we have any more bench warrants. So who's going to be in the breakout with me? Will be Ms. Falk and Mr. Bartel in courtroom 2. Is there anyone else who's was planning to attend the 11 a.m. calendar?
Yeah, Ms. Williams is here, Your Honor.
Okay, I have a Charles Glover. Mr. Glover, which case are you here for?
Hey, hello, Your Honor. I was here about Mr. Davon Lang, who was transferred to competency.
Okay, please keep your screen video on.
How's it going, Mr. Glover?
Hey, Mr. Bartel, it's good to see you.
Mr. Anthony Warren, are you here for the competency calendar as well?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Same defendant.
All right. I have a Tehran. Well, I did have a Tehran. Has he left the screen? Okay. All right. Let's see now. Miss Bird. So Miss Grace, if you can place me, courtroom 2, Miss Falk, Mr. Glover, Mr. Warren. Then I have Miss Burgess somewhere here.
Yeah, Ms.
There she is. Okay. And Michael Jordan will join us too. And anyone else who's on Zoom, you are free to go.
Thank you.
Except Miss Grace. Okay. And Mr. Jordan.
So,
Judge Lau, should the court reporter remain on the line?
No, you're free to go. Thank you, Miss Garrison.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Miss Washington is free to go. JCS is free to go. Attorney Tom White is free to go.
Thank you.
So just a question. If I have any orders or plea forms, Judge, should I send those to Ms. Grace or Mr. Jordan?
To Mr. Michael Jordan.
Thank you.
All right. So, Ms. Grace, or whoever's on video right now, those are the folks you can put in the breakout.
Have a good one, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your Honor, just double checking. There's not an updated competency, correct? We just had the one.
I don't believe so. So
Okay, just checking.
We're done. Ms. Grace, you can close it out.
Together on
Thank you,
one
sir.
day. And I got this